All right, guys, how's it going? So today the section is 8.4 environmental impacts. It's not a super long section and it's not really, I don't know, it's something that you will get very easily just by reading it. I don't really need to talk to you guys at length about it. So I thought I would just make this short little video. There was a couple topics within the section I wanted to cover. And then you guys can just watch this video. I'll post your worksheet on Classroom, and then you can just do that, turn in, be done. Should be pretty quick and easy. Yesterday, Trey turned his or just answered the questions on the worksheet on his computer, just typed the answers in, and that was worked super good. Um, So if you can do that, it would alleviate the printer problem and all that. So if you can just, I'll post the assignment to Classroom as a Word document. So you can just download it, answer questions on the Word doc, and then post it back on Classroom or email it to me. Yeah, email it to me. That would work better. Um, yeah, that worked good. So if that works, we'll try that for today anyways. So even though we're not going to meet for Zoom today, I want you guys to send me an email sometime today. Doesn't really necessarily have to be at 12:30, but just send me an email, preferably before 2:30 or before 1:30, I guess is the end of our class time. Telling me, just checking in so that I can mark you present. If you don't send me an email, you will not get credit for being in class today. So don't forget to send me an email. All right. Okay. So a couple things that I wanted to cover were mainly the first couple topics in the section. Um, Everything else is pollution and all that kind of stuff. That's all. You guys can just read about it. Should be pretty simple. But populations and carrying capacity. So I'm going to read these couple paragraphs and then I'll talk about them, and then um, I'll be done with the video. You can read the rest of the section and do the worksheet. Okay. A population includes all the individuals of one species living in a particular area. You can see in figure 25 that it took thousands of years for the human population to reach 1 billion people. In the mid 1800s, human population began to increase at a rapid rate because of advantages in modern medicine and the availability of clean water and better nutrition. People began to live longer. In addition, the number of births increased because more people survived at childbearing age. Okay, so a population, talking about human beings for, they were using humans as their example. A population can be the entire population of the world as a whole. So if we're talking about, again, the human population on planet Earth, obviously, I can forget what, I think it's like 3 point something billion now. I don't really know exactly what it is, but anyways, um, that's one way you can talk about population. You can also talk about the population of Jordan Valley, right? So you can get a little bit more concentrated into an area and talk about the population that way. There are different characteristics and things that influence populations. So if you're talking about the population of the United States, obviously, two things that have an impact on population are immigration and emigration. Immigration, as in IMM, immigration, is the people coming into the United States. Okay. Emigration, as in EM, migration. I don't know if these things are vocab words in your book, but nevertheless, emigration with an E is people leaving. So those are both factors that play a part in the population of a country, but not necessarily that. If you're talking about cattle, for instance, um, you know, uh, cattle immigrate, between pastures and stuff. And, sometimes if the gate's open or something like that, your neighbor's cows might get into your pasture. That's when we can talk about immigration, things coming into a new place. And those cows that are leaving where they're supposed to be and coming into your pasture would be emigrating away from where they're supposed to be to your place. So there's a bunch of different things that influence population. Moving on from that to carrying capacity. Every person alive today uses and is dependent on Earth's natural resources. However, Earth has a carrying capacity. Carrying capacity is the largest number of individuals of a particular species that the environment can support. Given the natural resources available, if a natural resource, given the natural resources available, if a natural resources are consumed too quickly for the environment, or the environment becomes threatened, then populations suffer. Jeez. Unless Earth's natural resources are treated with care, the human population could reach its carrying capacity. Okay, so relating that to cattle, for instance, most people that live on a ranch, I think Oksana is the only one that doesn't in this class. Anyways, most people have, like some kind of a small pasture around your house, a heifer lot or something, just a small pasture around your house. So if we were to think about that, that's a pretty easy thing to, picture in your head is this enclosed space. Okay. So assuming that that pasture is no more than, I don't know, 5 acres, then there's a limited amount of organisms that pasture can support if it was to inhabit them year round. So if you put 100 cows in there, obviously 4 or 5 acres isn't going to support all of them for a whole year, right? So that's what carrying capacity is talking about. There's a certain limit as to the organisms that an area can support. So if you have a 3 or 4 acre heifer lot, maybe 4 or 5 cows could live in there year round. Obviously in this area in the wintertime, it'd be pretty tough, but in a more temperate area, maybe Arizona, for instance, or I don't know, Hawaii, where there's not snow on the ground in the wintertime. The carrying capacity talks about the number of organisms that a specific area can support for, indefinite amount of time. So obviously, again, going back to the heifer pasture, maybe that heifer pasture can support, 6 or 7 cows year round. Obviously, if you put 15 in there, they're going to wipe it out a little faster than that. That doesn't have enough resources to support them. So carrying capacity, again, and, going back to their example is, right now our human population is like, I don't know, we'll say around 3 or 4 billion. Okay. But ultimately, obviously, Earth can't support maybe 50 billion people. Okay. So there's a limit to the amount of organisms that the planet as a whole can support. And that's what they're talking about in terms of carrying capacity. They're going to go on from that and talk about a bunch of different things in terms of basically taking care of the planet. And that's all kind of stuff, but it's important, I guess, to learn about in terms of chemicals. We've been learning about fossil fuels and all that kind of stuff. So learning how they affect, the environment. I think an inarguable point is that fossil fuels have the potential to pollute our environment. Whether or not you believe that is a devastating effect is a matter of opinion, but they do have an effect on our environment. And so, being able to make an educated decision for yourself based on, those facts is important. So, okay, I will post this online so you guys can watch it. And then, yeah, just watch the video, read the rest of the section, do the worksheet. If you can do it on the computer, great. That'd be awesome. And I will see you guys tomorrow.